From the American Riviera in Santa Barbara, California, it's Ken Boxer Live with your host, Ken Boxer, and co-host, two-time Olympian Ty Babilonia. Please welcome Ken and Ty.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. And welcome to the show. I'm Ken Boxer, and of course, my lovely and very talented co-host. Two-time Olympian, yes, but she's also the five-time national champion, as well as one-time world champion figure skater Ty Babilonia.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you for that intro.
What was your week like? I haven't seen you for
I
a
wish
while.
I had something exciting to talk about, but I just relaxed. And, you know, I did my artwork, which you saw on Facebook, those little jeweled boxes.
I love those.
Thank you.
The Ty boxes.
They're handmade, crystal encrusted boxes, and it's really therapeutic for me. So that's what I did.
You can find them on the internet, right?
Yes, go on Facebook, on my page on Facebook, and
you also have Thai treats. I saw they were served at the.
That's right, at Miss America last week. Lee Merriweather, who we've had on the show,
right?
She ordered these special chocolate crowns, and she gave them out to the judges, Kathy Ireland, Sean Johnson.
Where's my treat?
I will bring some treats next time.
Well, who's on the show tonight?
Oh my gosh, we have the two-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, and also he resides here in Santa Barbara.
That's right.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you know that? Mr. Mark Stouffer is here with us. So excited. So don't go away. We'll be back with Mark Stouffer.
And I promise, come on back.
Ken Boxer Live, brought to you in part by Wendy Foster, Santa Barbara and Montecito's premier clothing store. The Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. And by Santa Barbara Chicken Ranch, authentic Mexican style mesquite barbecue. Now back to Ken Boxer Live.
This is a new cup.
My new mug.
A new mug for Ty. And welcome back. Joining us tonight is actually Hollywood's most versatile and multi-talented directors, writers, and producers. Tonight, we have the pleasure of interviewing Mark Stouffer. Mark's work is legendary. Early on in Mark's career, he was the director of many of John Denver's specials for the ABC network. He also had a movie that was written about him and his two brothers called Wild America, which was enormously successful. Mark went on to direct many National Geographic documentaries where he was the recipient, not one, but of 2 Emmy Awards. He has written and directed many motion pictures and recently worked with Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos on a documentary which we'll be discussing later on in the show. So let's welcome one of the busiest men in show business and the multi-Emmy Award winner, Mark Stouffer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Mark, early on in your career, you became known as somebody who was involved with John Denver, outdoors. You find this theme throughout your career, the outdoors you've been shooting. How did that all start, the outdoor look?
I grew up with 2 brothers. I'm the middle brother. I had an older brother, a younger brother. We grew up on 6 acres. It was a very wooded area, and it was surrounded by forest. And everything that we did as children dealt with nature, getting out, exploring, building forts, tracking animals. And when we got a little older, the concept of that some animals were endangered or threatened with extinction became a part of the American vocabulary. The green movement was just beginning. And we segued that into our love of photography. We used to make home movies of ourselves around our house, and we said, let's do animal movies about animals that are threatened with extinction or rare. So that's how we got started, me and my older brother, Marty Stouffer, you know.
Wild America fame.
Yeah, we actually have a notoriety. We photographed every animal, bird, and reptile threatened with extinction when I was quite young, under 20, and we did it attracted Robert Redford, who narrated this film, Henry Fonda, all kinds of big talent got behind us, Quaker Oats, because we were working on something, I guess you would say, of integrity, important to the environment.
But what made you, though, as you were very young in your teens. Most of teens are out going partying, and you're out taking photos of nature. That's where
The love of animals.
Yeah, a love of animals, but also I remember, to example how dedicated I was and interested in film. I remember hand drawing animation on every roll of a piece of film, like we're talking 1,000 little pictures, to do a little animated film when I was, in high school. So I was always fascinated with film, and animals were always stimulating to me.
Well, I know you did many, as I mentioned, the John Denver specials for ABC. You were in your early 20s, but then you talked about Wild America, which was, as I said in the beginning, enormously successful. You brought with you some clips. We're going to see Wild America, as well as a movie that you did called Doggone in this clip. Tell us a little bit about those two.
Well, Wild America is many things. It's a Times book. It's also a 155 episode television series that we created. And it's a Warner Brothers feature motion picture. Warner Brothers took the life story of me and my two brothers, encapsulated it into a feature movie called Wild America, and that's what I think the clip is that you're going to show as part of that $20 million feature. I produced that film. I also originated the thought of doing the film because the stuff we did as kids was just so adventurous and exciting that I thought, why should I need to go and create something? We've lived an adventure.
And it seems as though, Ty, every Christmas time this movie is shown in the country,
Wild
right?
America,
It's always
yeah.
the Wild America.
I can't wait to see the full film in its
It's
entirety.
very
I haven't
good.
seen
The
it
second
yet.
film that we're seeing in this particular clip also is Doggone, which is a few
It's a
years later.
Universal Studios motion picture that I made for a very low budget because I believe in family film. It's really has a very long longevity when you're speaking of market. But also, I feel good about making a funny, fun film that kids will enjoy. It's it's not full of vulgarity or anything. I mean, it's a real fun film. And I wrote and created that film from the floor. I also raised the money to make that film, and then Universal picked it up.
Okay, well, let's watch. Everyone, let's watch. You're watching at home. Let's watch the monitors in the studio. Mark Stouffer.
Who won?
Then one day something happened
Go on, have a look through it. Oh, yeah.
that was totally wild.
This could be our ticket out of here.
Head out on the highway, looking for adventure. Run for the car! Go! Heavy metal thunder.
I'm having fun. Aren't you?
Nature's child. We were born to be wild.
Having a blast.
Born to be wild.
Wild America.
Bring me that dog! Dead or alive!
You gotta run. Go on.
Now, with man's best friend against America's most wanted,
Hi, kid. How's the dog napping biz?
the bad guys don't stand a chance.
Soldier. It's time we prepared for battle. Looking for me?
This kid ain't normal. Oh, hey, look at that.
Lock and load.
Kid's playing soldier now. Oh! Ow!
It's the canine comedy that takes a real bite out of crime. Diamond Dog Caper.
And welcome back. Welcome back. Our guest this half hour is the two-time Emmy Award winner, Mark Stouffer. Ty.
Watching these clips, are you critical of your work? I mean, can you watch that and just enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I enjoy
Yeah.
it. I enjoy it. It's funny stuff, and
Right.
it's good acting. It's well, executed, and
Right.
I don't see any mistakes that I want to go back and remake.
Got it.
So
Got it.
We got
it's
it right.
just so nice to see something with no cursing, no blow-ups, and just a good, wholesome, nice film.
Funny is
which I
hard.
think is missing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny.
Mark surrounds himself with the most professional people around you.
Right.
Well,
And that's what you got to do, right?
Yeah, I'm just one guy, and there's a lot of people that make a movie, and you know, you've got to orchestrate them like a watch.
Well, what is the most difficult part as a director? Is it different, and in terms of making a movie versus a documentary?
Well, you're talking about two different worlds, a movie or a documentary. You know, a documentary is challenging for all the physiological reasons, you know, insects with disease, and you go to dangerous places, and no hospitalization, no 911, no evacuation if anybody's injured. But with a movie, it's just getting a story that's compelling and interesting and fun and just stimulating and meaningful on script is hard. Finding the talent that's willing to, you know, do a good job is hard. Shooting it is hard. Editing is hard. Movies are really a phenomenally difficult thing to put together because every phase is hard.
But it's easier for you to direct a picture that you've written as opposed to getting somebody else's script and directing?
Well, you control. You have more control.
You're familiar with it,
Right,
but
right.
you show me a great script and I run away and happily direct it, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm not an ego. I don't have to do only my own work. I could very easily work with somebody else's.
Well, there's two more clips we're going to see that you can lead us into. One is a horror movie, which is it seems like out of your genre, as well as a documentary of your being in Siberia, capturing the most beautiful tigers in the world.
I get hired a lot on expedition films. This was a National Geographic television special on Siberian tigers.
Right.
I traveled to Siberia 7 times to do this. And also places like China for the giant panda bears and Namibia elephants and things. That's kind of the adventure side of the work I do. We shot this film in Siberia. And while you've seen tigers in zoos and you've seen lots of tiger photography, it's a Bengal tiger or it's a different kind of tiger. Right. We photographed Siberian tigers in the wild for the first time ever. They'd never been photographed in the wild. You know, they've been photographed in, you know.
But what about the horror picture? How's that fit in?
That was strictly an economic decision. Horror was going through the roof. It's very popular. It never goes out of genre. It never goes out of vogue. It's always a staple. You know, it's always there. It's like a hamburger, basically. So I made one, you know, to put out in the market and to see what kind of money it did, and it did very well.
It did very well. Let's watch it, okay?
Okay.
Mark Stouffer, more of his work.
They call it the hunter's moon because they kill the prey by it. Stockpile for the winter.
Guys, I know this train.
How does it end, Andrew? Has it fired?
On the edge of a lush forest in coastal Siberia, a hunter is on the prowl. A creature of fearful power and stunning beauty. The biggest cat on Earth, the Siberian tiger. These Russian and American scientists must get close to one of the most dangerous animals in the world. Made for Siberia, this splendid cat can sprint across the snows at 50 miles an hour. Magnificent, mysterious, highly dangerous, and highly endangered. This is the Great Siberian, the tiger of the snow.
And welcome back back, everybody. Mark Stouffer is our guest. Hi.
It's so emotional. I mean, that last shot of the tiger. Do you get emotional shooting?
It was a very exciting thing to do. It
Right.
was dangerous. You're working in Siberia. There's no support or, you know, and nobody protecting you. You're really alone. If something happens, you can't be helped.
Right.
They told us, don't worry, tigers don't climb trees, but I remember as we were landing a helicopter, this tiger leaped, it must have been 12 feet.
Really?
And climbed to the top of a tree and was raking its claws at the helicopter, and we were looking down at it.
Oh my God.
I was going, well, tigers do climb trees.
Yeah, I mean, that's dangerous. I mean, what was the most dangerous situation you and your crew had ever been in?
Well, you know, when you're doing a documentary or a movie, you have to do what you have to do to get the best shot. So we had to photograph a baby Siberian tiger cub. So we actually crawled inside of a tiger den at 4 a.m. and photographed the baby tiger.
Just
inside.
one camera? Is it just?
Yeah, just one camera. And I remember crawling inside that den in the middle of the night, and there was a Russian man with a shotgun standing guard, but that didn't mean that we were safe because you could hear the tiger growling out in the woods. But the smell inside that den was so strong, such a pungent odor, and I was crawling in with a biologist, and I remember seeing this big clump of tiger fur on the root of a tree, and I thought, oh, I'm inside of a tiger's den. If I get eaten in here, it's nobody's fault but my own. This is pretty...
Yeah, you can't run
but
back.
How do you guard yourself against what Ty was saying? You're shooting how close to these tigers?
Right.
I mean,
we were using very powerful photography, a lot of aerial photography.
What's the closest you came to one of those tigers we saw in that clip?
Probably 200 feet, 250 feet, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those tigers can run.
Well, tigers don't want to do anything to do with you, really, unless
Right.
they're really hungry.
Okay.
You know, they want to run away as bad as you do, so it's not like, you know. Although we did stay in a little timbering shack, and then we had to walk to a stream at night and wash ourselves, maybe a city block away, equivalent. And then the next morning, you could see that the tigers had put their footprints over ours.
Right.
They were tracking us
everywhere
we went.
You went from John Denver to starting to make movies, and you teamed up with your brother on a few occasions with Wild America and doing some horror. But then all of a sudden, you get a call or something, and you're now with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, the billionaire CEO from Amazon. All of a sudden, you're where now in the Bermuda Triangle shooting?
I have a name in expedition filmmaking. I can go out and do a good job and not run into a lot of problems or get thrown in jail. So I have a good reputation. And Jeff hunted me down because he'd heard about this, and he wanted to pull the Apollo 11 rocket engines off of the bottom of the North Atlantic that took Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong to the moon. And he said, we're going to work at 3 miles underwater, and I want you to do a film with me and come on board the ship. So I spent 6 weeks with Jeff on a big Norwegian ship in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean, working at 3 miles under. And it was amazing seeing these 1 million horsepower Apollo rocket engines come up after 40 years after they took man to the moon for the first time.
I saw that footage.
From what I heard, that you also presented this clip at the Waldorf Astoria in New York?
Yeah, we won the Big Explorers Club certificate.
Bravo!
Congratulations. Mark, you've got to watch this.
Yeah.
I want our audience to see this. So what is the Apollo 11 expedition?
This is called the Apollo F1 engine expedition because we brought the engines up that took the rockets to the moon.
Okay, let's watch.
Powerful.
I remember watching it on our living room TV. I had the excitement of my parents and my grandparents. It does take courage to explore.
Yeah.
When you explore, you're doing things that nobody has done before, and things can always go wrong when you're doing something for the first time. 3 miles below where I'm standing right now is a wonderland that is testament to the Apollo program. looks like a magic sculpture garden with all of these pieces from different missions that are, in some cases, perfectly preserved, and in other cases, twisted into these beautiful shapes.
We're headed back into Cape Canaveral, Florida, where we're going to bring these engines home.
To bring those pieces up on deck and actually touch them, that brought back for me all those feelings I had when I was 5 years old and watched those missions go to the moon.
It must take hours and hours of preparation to just be able to go there with a thought in mind, a whole, beginning, middle, and an end. How long did it take?
Well, when you're doing a documentary like this, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know whether the ship's going to sink or you're going to be attacked by pirates or whatever. So, you shoot what happens and you shoot it well. We were shooting with 5K, which is, an IMAX format. But it was an extremely challenging project, and it was meaningful too. I mean,
absolutely,
to be standing next to the Apollo 11 rocket engine and just see these things, 8 million horsepower, the engines combined, it was really a moving thing. I mean, I remember walking out on the deck of the ship and spending time with those engines myself, just looking at them, trying to think about what they are and what they did.
What does one of those things weigh?
They're like 20,000 pounds. They're extremely big, and the fuel consumption of them was just everything about them is through the roof.
Massive.
Every stat you can imagine about those engines are just unbelievable.
But how would you distinguish these are the Apollo 11 rocket boosters? I'm sure there's other boosters from other.
Nothing has ever touched it. All of Elon Musk's SpaceX engines are a fraction of this horsepower. Nothing has been made of this size and power since.
You're saying it stood out under the water 3 miles, because there must be other debris down there too, right, from the other rockets?
Well, 3 miles down, there's not that much going on. There's a lot of silt, but they're very difficult to find. No, we had the best side scan sonar experts on board, and everybody on board was, Jeff Bezos. He's not going to hire a second rate. Everybody on board was A+. And so we were tracking with sonar, we were tracking with submarines, we were tracking with everything. And it took weeks to find them before we even started to bring them up. I mean, there was a big period in this expedition where we were going, is this a waste of time and a waste of money?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you live on the ship and you're eating every day and you're waiting and hoping, and you don't know whether you're going to go home empty-handed or succeed the way we did. So I feel very
So you must
fortunate.
have, though, a lot of footage. Are you going to make this into something longer?
Yeah, I'm working on a feature documentary. This is, I don't do many large format feature documentaries, but this merits a feature documentary, so I'm expanding what you saw into a large story format that also extrapolates all the way out to man landing on Mars. So there's a lot of efforts right now underway, to put people onto Mars and to do suborbital flights between LA and New York in 40 minutes, and all of that stuff is going to be very real within a matter of years. And so this...
well, how does this compare, though, to the other documentaries you've done in terms of this the most complex documentary you've had to shoot?
No, there was food
this
on
was
this.
not? I would think that
there was food.
There was food on this.
You said there was food.
There was food on this ship, and there were toilets, and
right.
there were nice people. I mean,
but was this the most exciting? Was this
yeah,
the top?
It's extremely. Well, what this is, it's a different thing. When you're dealing with Siberian tigers, you're dealing with power and amazing. But when you're dealing with this, you're dealing with unbelievable, important history.
Exactly.
Something has never been repeated before. Nobody's ever set foot on the moon after
yes, but I want to know, we only have about a minute
He
left.
needs to write a book. You need to write a book.
I want to know, what's it like working with Jeff Bezos?
Jeff's a good guy. I spent 6 weeks on a ship, and you get to know somebody when you're on a ship with him for 6 weeks. He's a bona fide good guy. His mother, his father, his brother, his brother-in-law, his entire family was on the ship. So I got very close to all of them, and they were all part of the film I made, and I, shot all their stories, and that's going to all be part of the film. But Jeff's a great guy. I enjoyed his company.
We just have just moments left. I just want to get in. Do you know, Ty, that Mark's daughter, Casey, is also a filmmaker in her own right.
Following
Congratulations.
in Daddy's footsteps.
Yeah, she's doing very well for herself,
That's so great.
too.
She's doing very well. She's done some award-winning shorts, and I'm doing my best to help her. It's kind of hard. The film business is a tough game.
Right.
No matter what you've done, it's a tough game for me still. I mean, stuff doesn't fall out of the sky on me.
That means it's time
nice
to go.
to have you here.
Thank you
It's
very
time
much.
to go.
Goes so fast. Thank you so much. You are fascinating,
Well,
Mark.
it's an honor
Thank
to
you,
be
Mark.
sitting next to an Olympian.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. Now be sure to tune in to our next show as we have legendary actress from the iconic television shows Lost in Space and Make Room for Daddy, and also starred in the movie The Sound of Music. With us on our next show will be Angela Cartwright. I promise that this show will be a show you will not want to miss. Well, that's it for now. So for our guest, Mark Stouffer, and for my co-host, Ty Babilonia, and my director, George Montalvo, and of course the entire KBL crew, I'm Ken Boxer, saying that Ty and I'll be seeing you next time on Ken Boxer Live. Good night, everybody.
Ken Boxer Live is brought to you by the following sponsors. Palazzio Restaurant, where people don't leave hungry or thirsty. American Riviera Bank. Feel good about your bank. Wendy Foster, Santa Barbara and Montecito's premier clothing store. Harborview Inn. Welcome to Santa Barbara's premier 4-diamond luxury boutique oceanfront hotel. Via Rosa Inn. Let us pamper you in international style. The Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. And by Taffy's Pizza, delivery, pickup, or dine in. Santa Barbara Chicken Ranch, authentic Mexican style, mesquite barbecue. Los Arroyos Mexican Restaurant, takeout. Woody's Bodacious Barbecue, voted best barbecue in Santa Barbara for over 30 years. Santa Barbara Bar, finally, nutritious, tastes great. Sammy's Camera, new location at 530 State Street. Rubicon Theater Company, not your typical season, not your typical theater company. Summer Lee, makeup artist, stylist, and esthetician. Go Sunless, custom airbrush tanning in your home or at their location. Perfect Computers, your local computer expert since 1990. The Ken Boxer Live musical theme, composed and arranged by Mr. Michael J. Leslie.